Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Vaheguru Sahib Ji. Mukh uchara sastra khat, ping giran char jaye. And lakha badrosana, jo kal kripa karaye. Kaha buddh prabh tuchh hamari, barn saka mahma jyotihari. Hum na sakat kar sifat tumhari, aap liho tum katha sudhari. Hum na sakat kar sifat tumhari, aap liho tum katha sudhari. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. So Sat Sangat Ji, with Guru Ji's Kirpa, we'll be looking into the gun, the virtues of someone we would describe as a visionary. In particular, we'll look at the Gurus that set off this whole essence of being a visionary and what it means to be a visionary in terms of the Panth and the Khalsa. We'll look at some examples from history, and we'll finish off with what that means for us in the 21st century, in today's world, in all of our personal lives. So first of all, what do we mean by a visionary? In essence, we're thinking about someone that can see a bigger picture compared to what's put in front of them. Someone that is not always constantly reactionary, that doesn't always wait for an episode or something to go wrong in their lives in order to react to it. And someone that can plan for a future goal and also set off that process and continue to develop it, learn from it and adapt to it in order to reach their destination. And someone in particular that is in every sense fearless, because whenever we think of someone having a vision, a goal in life, one of the main things that limits our ability to reach those destinations is fear in many shapes and forms. So in terms of Sikhi, it all starts from Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj being that pioneering visionary and the one that set this foundation stone for the revolution that was paved by the succeeding Gurus. And if we have a brief look into how many of the Guru Sahibs themselves were visionaries and the plan they set in process and how they added to it to where we are today, we'll start to see this revolution taking form. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj was a revolutionary in the sense that they took the true teachings of Vaheguru to all four corners of the earth. And in many cases, in quite dangerous experiences, putting themselves on the line in order to try and save humanity. And establishing these areas of Sangats that would later be founded upon and later be added upon by consequent Gurus. We have Guru Angad Dev Ji Maharaj, who formalized the Gurmukhi Alphabet, something very important for any Panth, any group, any collective of people to have their own language, and in a sense giving them an identity. And also something that isn't so often spoken about, but Guru Sahib creating a Mallakara and this institution, and even just planting the seed of staying physically fit, which we know from the time of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj was also added to. Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj started the foundation of Sri Harmandir Sahib, and also this epicenter being Amritsar, where people could earn their livelihood, and Amritsar becoming that base at Sri Harmandir Sahib for the Sikh Panth. Something very important for a people to develop in terms of their spiritual success, but also to earn their livelihoods, to make a living, and to be around those people that they found most dear to them. We see Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj continue this in the development of Sri Amritsar Sahib, and also the completion of Adi Granth, the first version, if you like, of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, which is, our Guru in today's form, in scriptural form, and something that every Sikh holds dear to their heart. Then we go into Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, again changing the narrative of Sikhi in a sense, adding to what the previous Gurus had done by creating a Akal Takht, this revolutionary concept that now as Sikh we are going to govern ourselves, and the time has come to pick up arms, because the things that we were doing in the past are not succeeding. Words alone won't bring us to where we need to come. And the creation of the Akal Sena and the Akal Takht, the first Sikh army that Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj created themselves. We see Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj creating hospitals and also the institution of medicines. and skipping over a few of the Gurus just because of time. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj putting a stamp on all of this in 1699 with blessing the Panth with this Amrit Sanchar ceremony and formalizing all those tenets, all those teachings and the identity of the Khalsa for one final and last time. And by formalizing this collective of the Panth, Guru Sahib left us with many jewels. They left us with worldly and spiritual education, Katha, understanding of Gurbani, and also learning of the world we live in, politics, Rajaniti, how to go about battles, and in essence, training many Gursikhs for the years to come so that this legacy of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj could continue when they had left their bodily form. One of the main things in terms of Guru Gobind Singh Ji being a visionary for me personally is the concept of Guru Panth and Guru Granth. The fact that Guru Sahib saw that in order to continue this mission, I'm going to have to instill my power within the Gursikhs. And we hear within the Bani Asar Balo Granth that Jab lag Khalsa rahe nayara, tab lag tej diyon mein sara. That as long as the Khalsa stays distinct and listens to what I have set out for them, all of my power will be within them. And that's very important for us to remember as custodians of the Panth, as a kind of comfort in a sense that Guru Sahib is with us and all of their potential resides within us. So it's very important to think about the time lapse of the Gurus, and in essence they had a look and they reflected on the world as it was at that time and even today, and picked out the ideals the Khalsa Panth needed and set those things in action and blessed us with all of those gun ready for us to use within this world. So initially we had the Guru Sahibs, the true visionaries of the Panth. Now because of this setup, this foundation of the Guru Sahibs, we have many accounts within Itihas of great Gursikhs being visionaries in every aspect of the word. And we're going to quickly look into two Gursikhs, the first of which is Nawab Kapoor Singh, who is one of my favourite idols, one of my favourite personalities in Gursikhi, and someone that really inspired me because of their foresight and their vision. Just a quick background of Nawab Kapoor Singh. Nawab itself means leader in a loose form, and they were the leader of the Panth, the third Jathedar of the Panth, after Baba Darbara Singh Ji. And they were given this Nawabi in 1733 by the Mughal emperors themselves. And the reason the Mughals gave the Sikhs this Nawabi was because they needed a bit of breathing space. From 1716, after the Shahidi of Banda Singh Bahadur, the Sikhs had encountered an onslaught from 1716 up until 1733 for 17 years straight. And now, after those dark times, the Panth had a chance to breathe. So it's also very important for us to realize that in the darkest depths of hell, in that sense, when things are going seriously wrong, that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And Nawab Kapoor Singh and also the transformation of the Panth after these 17 years of genocide exemplifies this. And Guru Sahib talks about this power being able to come to us at any point. When Guru Sahib says, Gur Prasad Paramapadapaya Suke Kast Harya, that with Guru's Prasad, with Guru's grace and their blessing, Paramapadapaya, we receive the highest padavi, we receive the highest status, and a dry stick, a suke cast, a dry piece of wood becomes Harya, starts to blossom, just as the Panth did in the consequent years after gaining Nawabi. So what did Nawab Kapoor Singh do? Well, initially they used to do seva of horses. They would feed them, wash them, and also pick up their manure and keep them clean as well. Now, because of the immense amount of seva and simran, the Panth decided that Nawab Kapoor Singh should be the one to take them forward in this new chapter. So what did they do? The Mughals were hoping that the luxuries given to them in terms of money and jagirs, in terms of wealth that the Khalsa was given, would suppress them and basically bury them in comfort. But quite the opposite happened. Nawab Kapoor Singh had the vision to realize that this is a time of relative peace and we should not sit back and get comfortable. This is a chance for us now to mobilize and to create a strong foundation and a strong infrastructure for the years going ahead. So they decided to bring all the Sikhs together that had been split up for many years after facing persecution, and they created Dal Khalsa, and splitting up the Khalsa at that time into Buddha Dal and Tarana Dal. Buddha Dal being over 40 years old and Tarana Dal being under 40 years old, and each having their select responsibilities. This formalized the Panth again and brought everyone together, And this created an institution where things were organized. And this, in essence, planted the seed for the next 60 to 70 years, at the end of which Maharaja Ranjit Singh gained the rule of Punjab in 1799 after taking Lahore. And we can trace these back from the Nawabi of Nawab Kapoor Singh, because from this splitting of the Panth, we have 5 Jathe created from Tarna Dal. Then we have the likes of Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, who was trained by Nawab Kapoor Singh, taking over and creating 11 missiles. And from those 11 missiles, we have Maharaja Ranjit Singh taking the rule of Punjab. So also having this foresight and also realizing that great things don't happen overnight. In this case, that seed planted by Nawab Kapoor Singh and realizing the structure of the Khalsa needed to be looked at, paid off 66 years later with Maharaja Ranjit Singh taking Lahore. Just one last thing on Nawab Kapoor Singh, and something that's very important in today's world and something that's talked about quite often, is preparation for their successor in Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, who was the 4th Jathedar of the Panth. And Mata Sundari ji specifically sent Jassa Singh Ahluwalia to Nawab Kapoor Singh and Amritsar Sahib to mentor them and train them and to look over them. Now what's important is that Nawab Kapoor Singh didn't just take them under their wing, but when the time came in 1748, when Nawab Kapoor Singh was 51 years old, they stepped back and gave the Jathedari to Jassa Singh Ahluwalia and realized that now they are ready and it's their chance to experience the Jathedari of the Panth, and they are now ready for this seva. And if we relate this into today's world, something that's always constantly spoke about in circles are Gurdwara committees or committees in organizations, and how the oldies are hanging on to things. And what, being this next generation that has the chance now to change the narrative, something that we should bear in our minds is that when the chance comes, we should also prepare the next generation with the skills that we have so that they can continue and build on whatever has been done, but also when the chance does come, to give them that platform. And this can be quite hard because having the status or being at the top of something is quite nice, to be honest with you. So when the chance comes, as Nawab Kapoor Singh has shown us, let's make way for the next generation and give them that platform in order to thrive and blossom. So now just coming to today's age, and Bhai Jagraj Singh, who many of you will be familiar with. Bhai Jagraj Singh as well, for me, is a visionary in many aspects. And if we relate what they did in their very short time on this earth, if we look at one of the starting points of Basics of Sikhi, speaking to the team members, I remember hearing this story that this initial idea was proposed in a Panthic meeting. And when Bhai Sahib spoke up and said, right, I'm going to start this channel, we need to educate people in English, many people simply just laughed at him because it had never been done before. And people thought, no one's going to watch these videos on YouTube. And here we are many years later today with people accessing the Basics of Sikhi channel from all over the world. So they weren't scared of failing, they weren't scared of making mistakes. And I think the important part from what we hear from Bhai Sahib and accounts of them progressing with Basics of Sikhi is that they always learned from any obstacle that came in their way, which is a true virtue of any visionary for myself. They were willing to try, and they kept positive about any obstacles that came in their way, which can be quite hard in any part of life. A few of the projects they started, obviously Basics of Sikhi YouTube channel, they created the umbrella organization of Everything's 13, which embodies Sikh, the Sikh Press Association, and things like Kiri Sangat. But also translating Sikhi and making it accessible for people like myself who came into Sikhi because of these videos, to doing prachar in a Gurdwara in English, which is unthinkable at the time. And from my earliest memories, I'd never seen anyone else do it before Bhai Sahib. To doing prachar in India, and also very important things still today, the anti-conversion series, which hit me very deeply in terms of these attacks still happening on Sikhi, and Bhai Sahib having the foresight to think about how we can prevent these things from happening. These are just a few of the things that Bhai Sahib had a vision for and also implemented whilst they had this time on earth. But there are a few other things and many other ideas that they had plans for. Things such as Gurdwara committees, giving bursaries and scholarships so that Sikh can go and study Sikhi in an academic sense. Many of the history that's written about us in academia has not been written by Sikhs, and this is a very dangerous thing. So Bhai Sahib looked at every single angle and definitely saw the bigger picture in that sense. And their ideas and their way of thinking, for me, complements the Gursikhs of the past. In many senses, they were abstract and unheard of. And when you have abstract and unheard of ideas, this brings a lot of fear and a lot of doubt in many people's minds. But that didn't let them limit their vision. Now, just finishing off, how does this relate to us in today's world? Well, many times we are brought back, and sometimes by people in our own community. When we think of something big and undone before, people say, be realistic. For me, having a great idea or having a big vision is not realistic at all. And if we look at our itihas, the Guru Sahibs themselves embodied that, having these massive ideas, these great visions, and putting the required procedures in place to achieve those things. Think about the Sakhi of Sukha Singh Mahtab Singh doing the crazy act of going to Harmandir Sahib that was fortified at the time and decapitating Masarangar's head. I'm sure many people would have frowned upon them, thinking there's no way that's going to be possible. And if they had let other people's responses limit them, they wouldn't have even set off to Harmandir Sahib. So something for our lives, and something I take when reading these Gursikh's Jivans, is that many times our own mind will tell us this isn't realistic, it's not possible, this vision is too high. And that in itself stops us and prevents us from even starting. But the way I see these visionaries and how they've taken things in their lives is that there are obviously going to be obstacles, there are obviously going to be problems along any route. But let's deal with those as they come. Let's not let them get in the way of achieving that destination we were bound to get in the first place. Once we get there, we can deal with whatever comes. And us as Gursikhs, us as the Khalsa Panth, are very lucky because we have Guru Sahib looking over us. And as our itihas has shown many and many times, with Guru Sahib over our shoulders, any obstacle cannot be overcome. So just one last thing. When we're looking at any Gursikhs that have been true visionaries in the Panth, there's always a commonality. These people didn't come out of random places and jump off the couch one day and thought, I'm going to make a change. That's great as well, but it needs to be backed up. What did Bhai Sahib and the likes of Nawab Kapoor Singh have in an abundance? Seva and Simran. They had Kamai, which led them and gave them the energy, and also gave them Guruji's bakshish, Guruji's blessings, in order to implement these strategies. They had a high level of Rat, and that's something that we should all personally look at in terms of a long plan. If we truly want to make a mark and join in this revolution of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, then we need to seriously look at ourselves and develop ourselves so that we can give that back into the Panth. Guru Sahib says, Vidya Vichari Ta Par Upakari. That by having Vidya, by having knowledge, worldly knowledge and spiritual knowledge, and doing vichar of that, reflecting and learning from others, Ta Par Upakari, only then can someone go and do Parupkar and benefit other people. And encapsulating all of this and the power source behind all this, Guru Sahib sums up within a pankti by saying, Jis mastak bhag tu lagga siv. Jina de mathe de utte vadde bhag ne, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ. That it's important to remember when these opportunities come, to grab them with both hands, because they don't come to everyone, as Bhai Sahib did, as Nawab Kapoor Singh did, as many great Gursikhs of the past did as well. Those people that have great bhag, destiny written on their forehead, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ. So the question is now, how do I make my mark on this Panth? How do I get involved? What do I do? And this comes up many times at camps, at talks. What can I do now, me living in the UK or studying or working with a family? What can I do? And the thing I'd always recommend, and having experienced this myself, is just get involved with whatever is possible for you at your stage in life. And that could mean a whole array of things. That could mean getting involved by cleaning the Gurdwara every Sunday. That could be helping at a Punjabi class or Gurmat class. That could be anything that is in your reach at this moment in time. My reason for saying that is because there are so many great things happening in the Panth. Unfortunately, nowadays, bad news travels faster than good news. There are likes like Basic Sikhi with Guru Sahib's Kirpa, we're continuing the seva, seek to inspire. Also organisations like Lions MMA, who are doing wonderful seva in Punjab. Punjab always has a negative connotation put and cost upon it nowadays. And I've been lucky myself to go and actually see one of the kids camps they do, which catered for over 1,500 children. And there were kids that had 32 Bani Akant in those camps. These gems are waiting to be waiting to be discovered. All they need is a bit of love and attention. So there are all these amazing organisations doing these things with visions. And by getting involved with these sevas, you expand your horizons. So start off small and your circle of influence will surely grow. But whatever vision you initially have, keep it high, as our Itihas has shown us, as Guru Sahibs themselves did, and Guru Sahib will take care of the rest. Don't let doubt or fear overcome or limit your vision, and keep your Sikhi very high. I just want to finish with one last Sakhi from the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj that Gyani Sher Singh describes whilst talking about the Granth of Panth Prakash. And it sums up a lot of this for myself. And it's a conversation between Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and the Singhs. And Guru Sahib offers the Singhs at the time Raj. And they say, Singho Puchla, wherever you want to rule, I will give you it right now. Now these are Singhs that have been, Garib Singhs, come from very humble backgrounds, come from very small parents. And the Singhs were like, whoa, this is a concept unknown to them. Even having rule of a pind was massive for them. So the Singhs at that point collectively said, Guru Sahib, Sanu Punjab da Raj Baksha do. And Guru Sahib saying, don't worry about Punjab, think bigger. And the Singhs said, no Maharaj, Punjab is fine for us, we don't really want to venture any further than that. And Guru Sahib kept persisting, saying, no, I'm offering you anything here, take whatever you want, think of other countries. But the Singhs at that time, for whatever reason, maybe it was because of their humble beginnings, couldn't envision venturing out of Punjab. For that reason, Guru Sahib gave the budget and said, Chalo theek hai, if that's what you want, I'll give you Raj of Punjab at this point. And over those years, the consequent years in the 18th century, we see the Sikhs taking control of Punjab. But what that story teaches me personally is that Guru Sahib is waiting to give us anything we want. We need to first of all have faith that Guru Sahib can provide it, and also have the vision ourselves of it coming into fruition. So while speaking, I would have made many mistakes. I ask for the Sangat and Guru Sahib to forgive us, and also bless us so that we can keep continuing doing this seva. So thank you for your time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaheguru, Vaheguru.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaheguru.